Most people over 60 have no idea what's happening inside their body at night. You close your eyes, the house gets quiet, the world slows down. But inside you, something very different is happening. Your joints are stiffening, your digestion is shifting, tiny waves of inflammation are either calming down or building up. And by morning, the way you feel when you first swing your legs over the side of the bed is not an accident. It's the result of what your body did while you were asleep. Now, here's the question most seniors never think to ask. What if one simple, old-fashioned remedy used before bed could gently support what your body is already trying to do overnight? Today we're talking about castor oil, and more specifically, what may happen to your body after 60 when you use castor oil before bed. Let me tell you about Helen. Helen is 82 years old. She lives alone in Ohio, sharp mind, independent, still drives herself to church every Sunday. But every morning, she dreaded one thing, that first step out of bed. Her knees felt tight, her lower back stiff, and some nights she'd wake up around 2:30 a.m. with that uncomfortable bloated feeling that made it hard to fall back asleep. Her doctor told her something very honest. At your age, overnight stiffness and slower digestion are common. Your body just doesn't recover the same way it used to. Helen didn't want miracles. She just wanted mornings that felt a little easier. One evening, her daughter mentioned something their grandmother used decades ago. Castor oil, not as a cure, not as magic, just as a gentle support for the body's natural overnight repair process. Within a few weeks, Helen noticed something subtle but meaningful. Her mornings felt smoother, not pain-free, not perfect, but easier. So what's actually happening here? First, let's understand what castor oil really is. Castor oil comes from the seeds of the castor plant. It's thick, pale yellow, slightly sticky. For generations, it's been used both externally on the skin and internally in very small, medically guided amounts as a stimulant laxative. But many seniors today use it topically before bed, especially as a warm compress over the abdomen or rubbed gently into stiff joints. Why before bed? Because nighttime is when your body switches into repair mode. After 60, your body doesn't regenerate as quickly as it once did. Collagen production slows down. Circulation isn't as efficient. The inflammatory response can linger longer than it should. So anything that supports circulation, relaxation, and gentle detoxification overnight may help you wake up feeling less burdened. Let's start with your joints. When you fall asleep, movement stops. And for seniors, that lack of movement can allow stiffness to settle in. Joint fluid, which lubricates your knees, hips, and shoulders, doesn't circulate as actively. That's why mornings can feel like you've aged 10 years overnight. When castor oil is applied topically, especially as a warm pack, it may gently increase surface circulation. Warmth alone can relax surrounding tissues. The oil itself contains a compound called ricinoleic acid, which has been studied for its mild anti-inflammatory properties. This doesn't mean it rebuilds cartilage. It doesn't reverse arthritis. But supporting circulation and calming surface inflammation overnight may reduce that tight, locked-up feeling by morning. Helen told her daughter something interesting. It's not that my knees don't ache anymore. It's that they don't feel as stuck. And that distinction matters. But that's not the most surprising part. Let's talk about digestion. After 60, your digestive system slows down. The muscles that move food through your intestines aren't as strong or coordinated as they once were. This can lead to bloating, constipation, and that heavy feeling that lingers into the next day. Medically, castor oil has long been used as a stimulant laxative when taken orally in controlled doses. But that is not something you should experiment with casually. Oral use can cause cramping and dehydration if not properly supervised. However, many people use castor oil externally as a warm abdominal pack. Some small studies suggest that this may gently stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode of your body. When this system is active, digestion improves naturally. Think about what happens at night. Your body shifts into repair, your liver processes waste, your gut resets. If your nervous system is calm and your abdominal area is warm and relaxed, this may support smoother bowel movements the next morning. Helen began noticing she wasn't waking up with that bloated discomfort anymore. She didn't change her diet dramatically. She didn't start intense exercise. She simply created a nightly ritual. Warm cloth, thin layer of castor oil, 30 minutes before sleep. That ritual alone signaled to her body, it's safe to relax. And that brings us to inflammation. Inflammation isn't always bad. It's your body's response to stress or injury. But chronic low-grade inflammation is more common after 60. It can show up as joint soreness, brain fog, sluggishness, or even restless sleep. Overnight, your body attempts to regulate inflammatory chemicals. If this process is balanced, you wake up refreshed. If it's not, you wake up stiff and tired. Ricinoleic acid, the primary fatty acid in castor oil, has been observed in laboratory settings to interact with inflammatory pathways. Again, this is not a miracle anti-inflammatory drug, but mild, consistent support over time may contribute to a calmer inflammatory response. Sometimes it's not about dramatic change, it's about small, steady support. But there's one more piece most people overlook: sleep itself. After 60, sleep architecture changes. You may spend less time in deep restorative sleep. You may wake more often. Your nervous system may stay slightly more alert at night than it used to. When you create a calming pre-bed ritual, especially one involving gentle massage or warmth, you activate the vagus nerve. This nerve plays a major role in relaxation. When it's stimulated, heart rate slows, stress hormones drop, and your body shifts into repair mode more efficiently. Helen described it this way: "It felt like my body knew it was time to settle down." There's power in routine, in touch, in warmth, in signaling safety to an aging nervous system. But now we need to pause. Because castor oil is not for everyone. If you are pregnant, have certain gastrointestinal conditions like bowel obstruction, or are dealing with unexplained abdominal pain, you should not use castor oil internally. Even topical use should be discussed with your doctor if you have sensitive skin, open wounds, or certain medical conditions. Oral castor oil can cause cramping, diarrhea, and dehydration. It should never be used regularly without medical supervision, and even topical use can cause skin irritation in some individuals. Always test a small area of skin first. Always talk to your healthcare provider, especially if you are on medications or managing chronic conditions. Natural does not automatically mean safe for everyone. The goal here is not to replace medical treatment. It's to explore gentle, supportive habits that may work alongside your doctor's guidance. So what really happens to your body overnight when you use castor oil before bed after 60? Your joints may experience improved surface circulation and warmth, potentially reducing morning stiffness. Your digestive system may benefit from a calmer nervous system environment. Your inflammatory response may be gently supported. And perhaps most importantly, your brain may interpret the ritual as a signal to relax more deeply. It's not magic. It's not instant. It's subtle. And sometimes, subtle is exactly what an aging body responds to best. Helen still has arthritis. She still has days when she feels her age. But she says her mornings feel less like a battle. And that alone changed her outlook. If you're over 60, you don't need extreme measures. You need consistency, gentle support, respect for your body's rhythm. Tonight, before bed, ask yourself a simple question. What small act of care can I give my body while it does the hard work of healing overnight? Maybe it's castor oil. Maybe it's stretching. Maybe it's turning off the news an hour earlier. But don't underestimate what happens in the dark, quiet hours while you sleep. Your body is always working for you. If this conversation helped you understand your body a little better, consider liking this video. Subscribe for more practical, honest discussions about health after 60. And in the comments, tell me, have you ever tried castor oil before bed? What changes have you noticed? You deserve mornings that feel hopeful, not heavy. And sometimes, the smallest evening habit can make the biggest difference by sunrise.